Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my virtual interactive live. And today's virtual interactive live is going to be forgiving. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Good morning, Miss Love. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Great. Great. So glad to be here on this wonderful Monday morning. So excited. The topic today is a real heavy one, and want to, get right into it. Who's out there with us today?
No one is here yet.
Okay.
Give me one
Okay.
second.
Great. Okay. And just let me know when you're ready to start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my virtual interactive live. And today's virtual interactive live is going to be forgiving. And the speaker of the morning will be Miss Deacon Thais Love. Welcome, Miss
Hello,
Love.
how are you? How are you? So good to see everyone this Monday morning. I'm so glad to be here. We, our cameras and everything had to be set up just right, so we took a little extra time in making sure that we are set up. So thank you for your patience, and to all of you all that thought that you signed on late. Nope, you signed on right on time. Okay, so thank you for allowing us to resolve our technical difficulties. But having said all of that, let's get started. Okay. Uh, Once again, thank you to all of you all who decided to take this little time out of your Monday morning to spend with us as we share about forgiveness. Okay. Um, Again, this is an interactive um, program, so I'm not the only one that's going to be speaking, okay? So you'll hear me speaking, but I also want to hear feedback and hear from you all out there as well. So feel free to put whatever questions you have, whatever comments you have right there in the chat, okay? That's why it's there. It is you all that make these programs so special. It's you all that make these videos so special and relevant because of the feedback that you give me, and that helps me to get the information out to you, the information that you really want, the answers to the questions that you really want to have answered. Okay, so I'm looking forward to reading and hearing your comments and questions. Miss Cece is going to um, read them out loud throughout um, the presentation so that we all can hear the questions and comments, and then I will respond as well. And so uh, let's get started. Okay. All right. All right. Today, we're going to be talking about forgiveness. Okay. Um, all this month, we're going to be talking about different ways that we give. Okay, yesterday, some of you all were on. Thank you so much. And we talked about giving, the benefits of giving. Okay. Um, and we went through, what it is to give and why do you give and should you give, and is giving relevant? We talked about things like that. And so if you missed it, you can go back and watch the replay and or share it with someone. But yeah, thank you all for those who came out yesterday. Today we're going to talk about giving in a different way. We're going to talk about what it is to forgive. Okay, forgive. Um, and there's a reason why that word is set up like that, to forgive. Okay. Now, what are you doing exactly when you forgive? Okay. Those of us who have been in situations where we've um, experienced forgiving or received, we were on the other end of receiving forgiveness. We understand that forgiveness is not an easy thing to do. It's not. Um, it's not an easy time to have to experience that. Yet it is so necessary. Um, when we are experiencing forgiveness, who benefits from that? Um, why is it necessary? Okay, these kind of questions. This is what I want to get into today. Okay, um, those of you who have had to experience forgiveness, um, either being the one to forgive or the one to receive the forgiveness. Okay, why did you do it? You can put that right in the chat. Uh, like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy to have to go through forgiveness on either end, being the one to forgive or the one to receive the forgiveness. It's not easy. But like I said, it's so necessary. So let's talk about what is forgiveness exactly. Okay, let's talk about what it is. What does this mean? What are you doing when you forgive? Um, it's it's not something that's easy to do. Um, and you don't take it lightly. It's hard. You can't take forgiveness lightly on either end. But when you forgive, um, it's number one. When you forgive, it's a conscious decision. A conscious decision, meaning that you have to put some thought in it. It's not. I mean, well, it depends. It depends on what the. Just checking my thing here. It depends on what the situation is, but um, at times, um, the decision to forgive is not easy. It's it requires a lot of thought. Okay. Um, the definition of forgiveness, as according to the dictionary, um, it is a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment, hurt, anger, and vengeance towards another person, group, or even a thing. Okay, so forgiveness is a decision, a deliberate. You do this on purpose. You don't just, okay. I mean, um, it's a decision. Okay, that's the first thing that forgiveness is. It's a decision that you make, and yeah, it's a decision that you make um, to release anger, hurt, resentment, which is resentment is real deep seated anger, like that anger that you held on to, and um, vengeance. Yeah. Vengeance is retaliation. You want to get back at that person or those people um, because they have harmed you. Okay, so um, yeah, forgiveness is a conscious decision to release those emotions. Okay, that anger, that hurt, that resentment, that revenge. Okay, decision to release that. Okay, now um, why is it that you have to come to a point where you have to decide to release those emotions? Well, forgiveness happens, or the situation behind forgiveness even arising is, first, something has happened. Something has happened between two people, or you and a group of people, or what have you, where um, you were hurt by the situation. It could have been something that someone said. It could have been something that someone did, an action. Um, it could have been a thing, um, that happened. Okay, regardless of how the situation happened, it does the situation, once it happened, it caused you hurt and harm. Okay, um, someone saying something to you that was hurtful, and it was so hurtful that it upset you in such a way that you hold on to that hurt. Okay, someone did something to you or around you that you found so disrespectful. It made you angry, and so you want to your thought was to get back at that person, retaliate because of the anger, and it's not a little bit anger; it's huge anger, stemming from how you perceived or understood that other person's actions towards you. Okay, um, resentment is so much anger that you resent you. You're so angry that it takes you a while to calm down. It takes you a while to um, get get over the anger. Every time you think about that situation or that that instance that happened, and you get angry all over again. You experience the hurt all over again. Every time. Every time you think about that situation, every time you see that person's face, hear their voice, your mind goes right back to that hurtful situation that occurred, I'll call it the offense, because uh, that hurtful situation, it offended you, it hurt you, it made you so angry. Okay, the anger is the response to the hurt that you've experienced. You know, so when the offense happened, uh, you experienced hurt, and as a reaction or response to that hurt that you experienced stemming from the offense, uh, you get angry, and you get so angry that you want to return the return that same kind of hurt to the other person or persons or even things. Okay, so in that hurtful situation, the offense, um, it was something that you were not prepared for, or you may not necessarily have known that the offense was going to happen. You didn't even have time to kind of brace yourself or prepare yourself for the offensive action or statement or thing. It just happened. And once it happened, you were harmed by it. You were injured, emotionally injured by it, psychologically injured by it. And your emotional and mental response is first is anger, then it's retaliation. You want to, you know, lash back out at that person or those people. But in the midst of the happenings of the offense, you were not able to lash back out that quickly, or because the offense kind of happened and you were not prepared for it, it caught you off guard. So you experienced the hurt, and you didn't have a prepared response for that. You know, so you experienced the hurt, you received the hurt, and it took you, you know, a couple of minutes or what have you to even understand what has happened to you. And then the moment is gone, you know. So you are having experiencing anger and resentment and everything. You know, but you have not been able to uh, retaliate. Sometimes you have not been able to even let the person know that you were hurt by whatever happened. You know, so a lot of times when hurtful things, situations like that occur, offenses occur, sometimes the offender doesn't even realize or doesn't know that they caused hurt, they caused you harm. And so you want to send a message to that person or those people that, you know, you tick me off, you get me angry. I want to get back at you. Sometimes we even want to, we want revenge. We want that other person to feel the same hurt that we experienced once that person or persons uh, uh, created the offense, whatever that situation was. So when let's say someone said something to you that you found very, very hurtful and offensive, uh, sometimes you could quickly say something back that's, equally hurtful, or you try to be equally hurtful, to that person, to let them know, I didn't like what you said. And I didn't like what you said so much that, I'm going to say something even worse back to you. Okay. Uh, Even when you have the opportunity to retaliate or um, throw it back at the person, uh, that just throws more hurt out there, but it doesn't get rid of the hurt feelings that you um, experienced or um, received from the offense. Okay, that you so that's just, as we say, tit for tat, where, okay, the other person said something or did something hurtful to you, and you received the hurt, and then you uh you know said something back equally as hurtful. um and so now both of you are offended by each other, both of you are hurt by each other. Okay. So then what? That just retaliation, it just increases the hurt and the offense. Okay. But yeah, so once the situation has happened, you were hurt, you're angry, you may have even retaliated, and said something or did something equally as hurtful to that other person. Does that solve the issue? The answer is no. Doesn't solve the issue. It just, you're going back and forth, hurting each other and offending each other. It just makes the hurt larger and larger, makes the anger larger and larger, and your actions between the two of you, escalate. Uh, and so doing um, that revenge thing, it does not relieve the hurt in the first place. You're still hurt by it. You're still angry about it. You're even more angry about it because uh, once you retaliated, the other person uh, uh, retaliates back, and so the hurt just gets larger and larger. The anger just gets more intense. The offense just gets really, really big and mushrooms. It still does not solve the problem. Okay, that anger you feel, you're still feeling it. It's still there. You might have even, allowed some time to pass where you um, tucked it in the back of your mind, so you're not thinking about it quite as often, but it's still there. You didn't forget it. It's still there. It's just that you are concentrating on other things so that you're not thinking about that situation, so that you won't get angry all over again. Because remember, every time you think about the offense, all of those very strong um, negative emotions come up right away. You see the person's face, you immediately remember, oh, yeah, he said this to me. That's the one that said so and so to me. And you get angry all over again, and you want to uh, hurt or um, send hurt back to that person all over again. Okay, so that is the situation that arises, that puts you in a position where you are still left with those negative, strong emotions, anger, hurt, resentment, vengeance. And so your mind, you know, keeps focusing on those things. Every time you see that person or that group of people, every time you see that thing, it takes your mind right back to the offense. Um, and you experience it all over again. That's hurtful. That's hurtful to you. Um, and what do you do in that situation? Because your mind, keeps uh, reliving that offensive situation, that hurtful situation over and over and over again, and the anger keeps on building, and you keep uh, tucking it at the back of your mind so that you can continue on to try to function. But that anger is still there. It's still there. It may not be at the forefront of your mind, but it's still there. And emotionally, you stored it. We store emotions in different parts of our bodies all the time. We store emotions all the time. It's important to be mindful, but we do it so quickly that very often we don't even realize we've done it. Once something offensive or hurtful happens, our first response is to try to get away from the situation. We first get angry because it's like, oh my God, no, they didn't say that to me. Who do they think they are? No, I'm not going to take that lying down. No, I'm going to get back at them. It's the anger response to try to handle the situation so that the hurt doesn't happen again, the offense doesn't happen again. But there are many ways that we try to stop the hurt and prevent the hurt or the offensive situation from rehappening. Okay, we might take revenge, say something or do something equally hurtful. We might get angry and instead of lashing out, we keep the anger inside of ourselves. We suppress the anger and the hurt. Like, okay, yes, they did hurt my feelings, but I'm not going to dwell on that too long. I'm not going to dwell on that too long because I got to get on with my life. So we suppress it. We tuck it somewhere back of our mind. We store that emotion, somewhere in our bodies, in our physical bodies. We literally do that. So instead of lashing out, we internalize it. We keep it inside and try to ignore it. Okay. A lot of times, people who suffer with high blood pressure, it's because they experience emotions that, and they immediately tuck it inside, they internalize it and then ignore it. Okay, that didn't just happen. I know she didn't just call me out of my name. I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm going to act like that didn't even happen. When you do that, you're not really ignoring it. You've received the hurt and you tucked it inside and you just made the decision, I'm going to ignore it for now. Okay. I'll deal with it later. But when we do that, we still have the anger, the hurt. We still have it inside. We just tucked it away. And then we may, if we remember, go back and pick it up and, try to deal with it or what have you. But a lot of times something else happens that takes our attention and we forget to go back and try to deal with that until we see the person again or the person does something else offensive. Then our memory is triggered. It's like, oh yeah, you know what? I was supposed to punch him in his face the last time he said that to me, and I didn't. Okay, now it's the time I'm gonna punch him in his face for the last time he said something to me and this time. So I'm punching him in his face 2 times. Okay, that's our thinking. Okay, so we sometimes we lash out, sometimes we internalize the hurt, um, and ignore it, and then sometimes we turn the anger on ourselves or on someone else near to us that didn't have anything to do with the situation, the hurt, or anything. That's called displaced anger. So, let's say you were at work and your supervisor spoke to you in a way that um, you didn't appreciate. You were offended. You were offended. You wanted to tell them off, but because they are your supervisor, you want to hold on to your job. So you just didn't say anything. You just held it inside. So that you can get through your day at work and so that you can keep your job. Then you go home, and um, someone, your children, um, they when you came home, they were supposed to do their homework. They didn't finish doing their homework, and so you yell at them. But when you yell at them, you're yelling at them about the fact that okay, you didn't finish your homework. But even in that yelling, you are also um, remembering what happened at work with that supervisor. So you're yelling at the child, for not doing finishing their homework, and you really going in. Okay, when you're yelling at the child, you're yelling at the child about the homework. At least that's what you're saying, and that's what the child is hearing. The reason why you're yelling at them, but in your yelling at them, you also, you yell for a longer period of time, or you yell extra because you are, even though you're yelling at the child, you're also thinking about that supervisor and things that you wanted to say to that supervisor when they offended you. And so some of that anger is, you're lashing out on that child when you're lashing that anger out on that child because you could not lash out on that supervisor. So that child is yelled at for the homework, for not finishing the homework, but the child doesn't know that you got so angry, not only about the homework, your anger and you yelling at the child was not only about the fact that the child didn't finish the homework. That child wound up getting your anger, receiving your anger from everything that happened that day, including what happened with the supervisor. You see, that's displaced anger. The child wasn't there, didn't have anything to do with that, but the child, you know, was on the receiving end of all of the anger. That's displaced anger. Okay. Um, and so when you are when you experience an offensive situation, hurtful situation, that hurt, you got to be careful and mindful with what you do in response to receiving that hurt. That anger, you know, you're going to do one of three things with it. You're either going to lash out at that person who um, directed the hurt to you in the first place, or you're going to um, internalize it and try to forget it or ignore it, or thirdly, you're going to uh, release your anger on yourself or on someone else that had nothing to do with it, that displaced anger. So you have to be mindful of what you do with those emotions that you feel and experience from the offense. Okay. So now, where forgiveness comes in is forgiveness is a way to deal with and remedy the how you felt about the offense. Okay, the hurtful situation that happened. Okay, and so um, when you when you experience hurtful situations, we experience them all the time. It's part of life. Um, but when you experience a hurtful situation, what you do with that hurt, you can harm yourself and others, as I just stated earlier. With those emotions and things, they control your actions. And so you then either perpetuate more hurt or you don't deal with the hurt at all. But it has to be dealt with because the hurt doesn't go away just because you decide to ignore it. It still is inside of you. You're still carrying it, and it affects you. Unresolved uh, anger, resentment, even vengeance, even hurt. We store those inside of our bodies and forget about it or choose not to think about it, and those emotions stored in our bodies and in our minds over time creates disease. You literally, when you store those kinds of emotions, you're not even aware of it. You store your emotions, those emotions, in different places in your body, and you leave it there. That place where you stored it uh, becomes diseased. Okay, studies show that energetically unresolved anger, stored up anger, depending on wherever you store it in your body, over years and years, unreleased anger turns into cancer. Your body, literally, the cells start to get start to malfunction, and uh, not work right and start to cause other cells in your body to not function properly. And that's how disease starts. And once those um, cells stop working properly, they start turning on the other cells, everything, you wind up with that organ malfunctioning. Um, you wind up with disease, sickness for real. And so it's very, very important that with when you experience um, all of your emotions, to experience it, okay? Acknowledge that, okay, that made me angry. All right, you know, what am I going to do with this anger now? Okay, I'm feeling sad. Let me take the time out to try to figure out what triggered the sadness or what happened that now I'm feeling sad. Okay. Yes, you have to take the time out to recognize and acknowledge when you're experiencing certain emotions. Well, all emotions, really. Um, and that way you will be able to better control your emotions and you would experience better mental health and emotional health. Okay. Don't just, as my uh, good friend and sister, Sister Debbie Soso, she used to say to me, uh, make sure that you have your feelings. Feelings are real. Feelings are real. Okay. They're not necessarily fact, but they're real, especially for the person that's experiencing it, you know? So, yeah, have your feelings. And when I say have your feeling, meaning, go through the emotion. Yeah. Allow yourself to experience that emotion. Don't suppress. Don't, you know, squash down that emotion. Don't stop yourself from feeling that emotion, whatever it is. Okay, because that's not healthy. God designed us so that we have emotions, we have thoughts. That's part of who we are. We have an emotional body, a spiritual body, a mental body, as well as a physical body. Okay, we have all that makes up who we are as people, and God designed us that way. So it would be to our benefit to um, take care of and be mindful of our emotional health, mental health, as well as our physical health. Okay, and so this is what it is that we should do so that we can experience greater physical health and a greater quality of life. All right. So now let's get back to this forgiveness thing. Okay. So, like I said, the offensive action occurred. You experience and and receive hurt, anger, and you got all of this anger um, with you every time you think about that situation. It makes you angry all over again, and you're storing up more and more anger, more and more hurt. more and more resentment. Okay. Um, the only way to stop that from uh, occurring is to release it. You have to release it. Okay. The person that or people that originally offended you, they're long gone. They gone on living their life. They may not even be aware that they offended you. Only thing they know is you and that person uh, no longer contact each other or interact with each other as often. That's all they know. Okay. And they're going on living their lives, doing whatever they're doing, perhaps offending other people. They're not even thinking about you, but you're sitting there holding on to that anger, that hurt, that resentment. You're sitting there replaying the mental video of what happened over and over again, getting yourself upset all over again. That person is long gone, but you're still hurting. Okay, so the only way to be able to move on and move forward in a healthy way is to release those those emotions, release all of that. And so we have to forgive. Now, let's go back to the definition of forgiveness. Again, just for your review. Forgiveness is a conscious, deliberate decision, okay? Decision to release uh, feelings of anger, hurt, resentment, and vengeance toward another person, group, or thing. Okay, so um, the only way to that you can release those emotions, that anger, that resentment, that hurt, even, is if you you forgive. Now, forgiveness, forgiving the other person or the group that offended you, that does not mean forget. That does not mean excuse. That doesn't even mean ignore. Forgiveness simply means to release. Release what? Release those your those emotions. Let go of the situation. Okay? Forgiveness simply means it's a means by which you let go of the situation, you distance yourself from that hurtful event so that it no longer offends you. It no longer hurts you. You release that hurt and that anger when you forgive. You let it go, because holding on to that hurtful situation, holding on to that anger and everything, it does not help you. In fact, it harms you. It's harming your body, and causing you to harm others and do cause hurt to others simply because you're angry. And you know how the saying goes: hurt people hurt other people all the time. Okay, so if you take the time out to deal with those emotions and forgive, then you can release that offensive situation, not allow it to upset you or cause you to relive that anger hurt, that resentment any longer. That's why it's a decision. Forgiveness is a decision. You have to come to that point where you say to yourself, okay, enough is enough. Um, I've been mad 15 years with this person. I don't speak to them, all of that. They going on living their lives. I'm still mad. Enough is enough. And I'm just going to decide to let it go. That is what forgiveness is. Now, who is forgiveness for? Is it for the other person? Think about it. When you forgive, who is it really for? It's for yourself. Forgiveness, it's what you're forgiving, what you're letting go of is that hurtful situation. You're letting go those your reaction to it, so that anger, you're letting it go. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to keep putting myself through anger and hurt about that situation. It happened 15 years ago. It's not happening today. I'm not going to allow it to happen anymore. So I'm going to just let it go. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness, when we forgive others, it's not for the other person. We forgive others to release ourselves from the hurtful offense. When we choose not to forgive, we hold on to that. Unforgiveness is something else. Unforgiveness can kill. Okay. Here are some of the psychological things that happen when you choose not to forgive. Okay. When you choose not to forgive, when you decide, well, I'm going to hold on to unforgiveness. That what that person did is totally unforgivable to me. This is what you're doing to yourself. Okay. Um, Unforgiveness leads to uh, heart rate increase, and irregular heartbeat. Unforgiveness leads to uh, high blood pressure. Unforgiveness also leads to um, the to it causes it's been known to um, lead to pre-diabetes, okay, and then diabetes, depression, heart disease, and mental disorders. All of this, all of these things, heart disease, depression, uh, precursor to diabetes, and um, mental disorders, all stem from or uh, become a result of having not forgiven. Do you really want that? Think about it. The offense that the other person did to you, okay, is it worth putting yourself at risk for heart disease, depression, um, diabetes, mental disorder? Is it worth it? The answer is no. It's much more healthier and beneficial to you if you simply decide, you know what, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to stop being mad about it. Yeah, that happened and I was mad and hurt, but I'm not going to keep on allowing this person, that situation to continue to hurt me all over again, time after time after time, every time I remember it. I'm just going to stop. I'm going to stop thinking about that. I'm going to stop allowing that situation to hurt me all over again. Because that's what you do. Except the person that offended you in the first place, they committed that offense that time. But every time you remember and you recall it and you get yourself, um, you know, upset and angry and experience that hurt over and over and over again, that's you allowing that situation to hurt you. That person may have offended you that time. They created the initial offense, but everything that happens and everything that you allow that situation to cause you to experience, that's you deciding to do that to yourself. That person, they may have offended you that time, on 3 o'clock at 3 o'clock on Tuesday morning, they might have said something to you that upset you at that moment. But if it's 15 years later on the Thursday, um, and you're still angry about that, that person is not even there. They're not offending you anymore. They did it that one time, 15 years ago. You're still feeling the hurt and the anger about what that person did that one time. Every time remember what that person did that one time or at that time, you take yourself through all of that all over again. That person is not doing that to you. That's you. That's you offending yourself. That's you uh, taking yourself through that. And so, with forgiveness, you come to a point where you decide, I'm not going to continue to do that to myself. I'm going to stop allowing my thoughts about that situation to make me angry, upset, and hurt all over again. That is forgiveness. Now, the person still did what they did 15 years ago. Okay. It wasn't right even 15 years ago. Wasn't right today. Okay. But it's done already. It's done already. Um, what you can do, maybe if you can find that person, you can let them know how much they hurt you. Uh, but first, before you even do that, you have to stop allowing yourself to be hurt by that situation over and over again. You have to do that. That other person can't even do that for you. The offense was done, you know. So that is forgiveness. And so it's important to forgive you, the person who got offended, than it is about the offender. Okay. Now the offender, they can benefit from you forgiving them, but you benefit most in that situation. Okay. Now we're gonna I'm gonna take you through the steps of forgiveness, okay? Because again, forgiveness is not easy, but it is so necessary. And you can forgive a person, a group of people, a thing. You can forgive uh, them even if they're not there to receive your forgiveness. Okay, you don't need the person, group, or thing to physically even be there in order for you to forgive. You can forgive at any time. And again, the forgiveness is more so for yourself. Okay. Um, why should you forgive? Again, you should forgive because it benefits you. It increases your health. Uh, it benefits you. But forgiving the other person uh, also benefits them. That's that give of forgiving. Okay. As we discussed yesterday, giving is caring. Okay. When you forgive, uh, you make the decision to not care as much about that negative situation that happened. Like you care, but you are caring more for yourself rather than concerning yourself, consuming yourself with that offense. Okay. And you, when you forgive someone else, you're you still care, um, but you're caring in a different way. Okay, you're caring in a different way. Um, for example, I have this saying, you know, you can love someone in the distance. Some people, you know, you love them up close. They're right there with you. You know, you interact with them, you care for them. But then sometimes things happen where someone that you care about will hurt you or offend you. You still care about them, but you have to um, separate or create some distance between you and that person so that you can still care for them, but you're not in the direct line of fire, you know, in case that person would seek to hurt you. Okay, so you can love that person in the distance. That's what I say. You know, you can throw your love to them so that they're not right close to you, so that in case if they want to, you know, hurt you or seek to harm you in any kind of way, you're kind of out of their reach. That's what loving in the distance is. Okay. So when you're forgiving, you still care about the situation, like you're mindful of the situation. Uh it's just that you're it's not close to you, it's not um you're not interacting with it where the hurt from that situation um you know impacts you immediately over and over and over again. When you forgive, you kind of push that situation further away from you, and so that you don't allow the hurt and the anger of that situation to directly keep hurting you over and over again. That's what happens when you forgive. Uh, and so it's important to forgive. So you forgive because it's uh, uh, a benefit to you. It benefits you. You forgive also. It benefits the offender um, in a way. I mean, you can actually help the offender if you, let them know of what the actions were hurtful. And I'm gonna need you to not do that again. Or, you need to be aware that your statements are hurtful, disrespectful, you know. So you can help the offender by making them aware of their action, the impact of the action. Okay. So um it's a benefit to the offender, but it benefits you first and more. Okay. Another reason why we should forgive is because uh, those of us who um, um, have a relationship with God, God forgives. And the Word of God instructs us to forgive as well. Okay. Um, and so the, and scripture lets us know that, we should forgive and so that we can receive forgiveness. No one is perfect. Everybody, you know, um, has at some time or another done something offensive or hurtful to others, even ourselves. And we also have been offended, okay, by other people. Um, and so, it's important to forgive. We should be we should be able to forgive others as well as receive forgiveness. Okay, so scriptures, uh, the Holy Text reminds us that God forgave us first, so we should be able to forgive others. Okay, and even be able to forgive yourself. Okay, it's important that you're able to forgive yourself. Okay, now um, when you forgive, as I said earlier, that you release those emotions of anger, hurt, resentment, even vengeance. You release them, you let them go. Okay. How do you do that? Okay. Um, what he said to me really hurt me. He called me out of my name. I was really offended by that. How can I let that go? How can I just, decide to let that go? Every time I think of him, I'm gonna think of how he called me out of my name. That's wrong. He's wrong for doing that to me. He's wrong. And I think that, he should be dealt with. He should be punished. So he'll know not to do that to me or anybody else again. That's the sentiment. That's the thought. But when you forgive, you're not excusing the offense. You're not excusing the person and their actions. You're not you're not even necessarily pardoning them. Uh, yeah, the action was wrong. Okay, yeah, that's true. But the action was done, and once it's done, it's up to you and how you're going to deal with it. How you're going to react to it and continue to react to it. The action was done. The thing about offense and forgiveness is When the person that when the offender um decided to offend you, you you didn't know it was coming necessarily, um and you can't control that. The offender did what they did, said what they said. That was out of your control. Okay, so you sitting there uh trying to think of ways to get back at the person and get revenge. uh no, you're exerting a lot of negative energy that's not benefiting you or the other person or anyone around you. That was out of your control. When the person, you can't control successfully what others do. You can only successfully control what you do. Okay? So think about it. The offense happened. You could not control it. You could not stop it from happening. Once it happened, it happened. Only thing you can control is your actions after it happened. You and once the offense happened, you couldn't even control your initial reaction. Once the person said what they said, and you received that hurt, that hurt, your actions. It was it's almost like a reflex. You don't even think about it. It happens so quickly, you know. But you can control whatever happens after the offense, and you can control um, what you do the next time you interact with that person or those people. You can control that. Okay, so now what I want to take you through the steps of forgiveness. Okay, now forgiveness can happen at any time. Um, whenever, but forgiveness happens when you're ready. Again, forgiveness is a conscious decision. Okay, you come to a point where you're like, you know what? Today, I'm gonna deal with that situation, and I'm gonna end it right here. It's a conscious decision. Okay, so and whenever you get to the point where you're ready to forgive, that's when you'll do it. The important thing, though, is to be aware of it, that the situation is offending you, and be aware of your emotions and your actions stemming from the offense. And then, coming to a point where you're going to try to do something about it that benefits you. Vengeance does not benefit you. Going tit for tat, it just makes the offense larger, it creates more anger, more hurt. It does not benefit you or the other person. Um, resentment. Resentment is prolonged anger. Uh, choosing to hold on to the anger. That's resentment. And that doesn't benefit you either. Okay? So the best thing to do is to forgive, release those things, because that's what benefits you most. Now, there are steps to forgiveness. Okay? Um, for one, that according to my notes and everything, my research, there's 7 steps, but to forgiveness, and I'm going to share all of the 7 with you. But in my opinion, there's less than 7 steps. You can get there much faster. But um, it's important that you go through all of the steps. The 7 steps of forgiveness are uh, step 1, acknowledging the offense, acknowledging it. A lot of times people do and say things to us that's hurtful, and we ignore it or we block it out of our mind. Just because we blocked it out of our mind or we ignored it does not mean it didn't hurt us. It just means that in that moment, for whatever reason, we chose not to think about the hurt. We tucked it away and tried to forget about it. That doesn't mean that that hurt is resolved. That doesn't mean that that hurt is going to go away. It just simply means that you ignored it. That hurt is still there. That anger, everything is still there. You just tucked it away somewhere where you chose not to think about it. So step 1 is acknowledge it. Okay, and the way you acknowledge the situation, you acknowledge the hurt and the anger. You think about the situation, what the offense, and really think about how you felt about it and why you felt that about that. It's good if you can find someone to talk to about it, someone you can trust, good friend, family member, you can talk it out. Okay, that person would simply be there to listen and to help you acknowledge how you felt about that situation. So, for example, you might talk to a family member. You know, um, you know, uh, I really didn't appreciate how Auntie uh, said to me that she felt that uh, I'm putting on too much weight. I really didn't. I really didn't appreciate how she said that to me. Back I'm hurt. Yeah, I know I'm putting on weight. And I'm, trying to watch my weight. She didn't have to go there. She didn't have to say that, and that hurt my feelings. In fact, I'm angry at Auntie for saying that to me. She shouldn't have said that just before we sit down and eat at the dinner table. Okay, you're talking it out. You're sharing with the other person that you trust how you felt about the offensive situation. You're sharing with the person why you think you felt that way, and the other person is simply there to listen and acknowledge, help you acknowledge. I was angry. I was hurt. I was embarrassed. Yeah, after Auntie said that to me, I didn't even want to sit down and eat. I felt like everybody was looking at me. So that's acknowledging the offense. You got to do that first, okay? And when you're acknowledging the offense, you're acknowledging it. You're acknowledging yourself and how you felt, okay? Now, if you don't have someone that you trust that you can talk to and acknowledging it, okay, you can take the time out and acknowledge it within yourself. you don't have a physical person to talk to, it's okay to talk to yourself. It really is. Okay. So, but the important thing that I'm trying to stress about step one is acknowledging it. Okay. Recognizing, okay, yeah, I was upset by that. Uh, yeah, that did make me angry. I did feel embarrassed. Uh, you know, go through all of the emotions, that you felt about it, and, acknowledge it. It's okay. All right. Step two is um, to um, allow yourself to experience fully those emotions. Don't suppress them. Don't apologize for them. Yeah, I was mad when she said that or he said that. In fact, I wanted to punch him in his face just because he said it. Now, that's not right, and that wasn't appropriate behavior to punch him in his face, but that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Like I said earlier, feelings are real, especially to the person that's experiencing it. Now, the when you're having your feeling, have it fully. That's part of you not only acknowledging it, but you're getting it out. Okay? You're getting it out. You're not suppressing it. You're not keeping it tucked, somewhere in your mind or your body. You're letting it out. When you're talking to someone, even talking to yourself, you're letting those emotions out. You are releasing those emotions. That's part of the forgiveness process. Okay. So, um, the step one is acknowledging, talking it out, saying what you felt. The step two is allowing yourself to feel it. Yeah, go through it. Experience that anger, you know. Yeah, I'm getting mad just thinking about it. Yeah, because when you allow yourself to have your feeling, you are releasing it. You're bringing it out. You're not, uh, tucking it away and ignoring it. You are bringing it out front in the open, and you're dealing with it. Okay, you're dealing with the issue and how you felt about it. So step two is um, allowing yourself to experience those emotions, allowing yourself to have your feeling. Okay, that's important. That's part of the release of those emotions. Okay. Um, step step three is accepting that. Okay, accepting the fact. All right, you know what? The offense happened. It happened. It was beyond my control. It was nothing I can do to stop the offense. It happened. All right. And it's over. Accepting what happened. All right. Uh, so you've talked about it. You spoke on it. You spoke on how you felt about it. You allowed yourself to have your feeling. You did not uh, you did not suppress your feelings. You are no longer uh, ignoring your feelings. You are allowing yourself to go through it, and you are not apologizing for having your feeling. You are entitled to have your feeling, to express your feeling. Okay, that's all part of the releasing. And then step three is accepting the fact that the offense happened. and accepting the fact that, yeah, this is how I felt about it. My feelings are real. It happened, the offense happened, and I didn't have control over the offense. It happened. Okay. No longer keep yourself in denial. Oh, that didn't happen. They didn't mean to do that. No, they didn't call me out of my name. I'm not gonna acknowledge that. No. Step 3 is accept that it did happen. Okay. And you didn't have any control over it. It happened. Step 4 is to come to the decision. Now that we know it happened, now that we had our feeling about it, now that we've talked about it, step 4, what do you want to do about it now? Step 4 is the forgiveness part. Okay. Now I'm going to decide whether I'm ready to forgive or not. That's step 4. Okay. And in deciding whether to forgive or not, you're deciding, okay, am I ready to just let go of the situation so it doesn't harm me anymore? Or am I truly not done with it and I just want to keep on being mad and hurt? That's deciding whether or not you're ready to forgive. Okay? Step 5 then is to heal. You forgive, and that, okay, I'm gonna let it go. I'm not gonna think about it anymore. And now I'm going to go into step 5 and heal from it. Okay. I'm not gonna let that bother me anymore. I'm not gonna keep thinking about that. I'm going to, think about other things. Or I'm going to um, move forward. I'm not gonna let that situation uh, make me cross the street to avoid that person any longer. Now that I've let that situation go, I forgave the person. I shouldn't have any problems being in the same room with the person. Okay, that's step 5. Healing from it and moving forward. And then step 6 is learn from it. Analyze the situation. Think about, okay, I couldn't control the situation or stop the situation from happening, but what will I do differently next time if that situation happens again? Learn from it. Learn from the situation. Okay, that's step 6. And step 7 is move on, move forward. Having experienced the offense, you talked it out, had your feeling, you've decided that, okay, you're no longer going to allow that offense to bother you in that kind of way. You've taken steps now to reorient yourself from experiencing that hurt. You heal from that. Then you learned from it. You analyze and you learn from it, and now you're ready to move forward. You can then resume interacting with that person if that's what the situation is, or you can move forward and whatever the resentment and anger from that offense has has held you back from, you can now move forward and move on from that. Okay, So those are the 7 steps of the 7 steps of forgiveness. Okay. But and you go through all 7 steps, but it's important to um, really deal with, talk it out, talk to someone, let somebody know that you were offended, you were hurt. Let somebody know. It could be, somebody that you trust, and let them know. It could be the offender. You'll go to them. Look, I really didn't like what you said, and when you said that, I felt this and I felt that, and I was angry with you, and blah blah blah. You know, you could talk to the offender. That could be, but the important thing in step 1 is to acknowledge, how you felt. Acknowledge that, yeah, I was offended. You know, you can acknowledge with someone else, or you can acknowledge with the offender. You can bring it to the offender's attention, or if you don't have the offender or someone else to talk to, you can talk to yourself and acknowledge within yourself, okay, I was offended. I was mad. That hurt, you know, because that's the first step in dealing with, um, a hurtful situation, is acknowledge it. Bring it to the forefront of your mind and deal with it. Then step 2, I think is very, very important, to have your feeling. Allow yourself to have your feeling. Don't continue to suppress it. Don't apologize for it. Your feelings are legit. That is literally how you felt about that situation when it happened. So have your feeling, because when you having your feelings, experiencing those emotions, you are in the process of releasing those emotions. Okay? You're no longer keeping it inside. You're letting them out. So step 2 is very important. All of the steps are important, but I'm just saying, to get to the point of full forgiveness, you know, you have to do these things. And then step 3 is accepting the fact that the offense happened and that you didn't have control over it. Okay, the offense happened. A lot of times when something offensive happens, some people blame themselves for the offense happening to them. They blame themselves and, you know, feel like they caused the offense to happen. Okay, no, you didn't cause the offense to happen. Um, the offense happened. That's what we mean in step 3 by accepting it. It happened. Okay. Don't blame yourself. Blame don't blame it on alcohol. Don't blame it on, stop with the blame. Accept the fact that it happened and we're going to deal with it. We're dealing with it. Okay. Don't look for places to place the blame. That does not resolve the situation. Okay. So step 3 is important in accepting the fact that it happened, um, and you didn't have any control over why it happened or even when it happened. It happened. Offenses happen, you know. Then step 4 is crucial in deciding, okay, now that this happened, what am I gonna do about it? You're either gonna forgive, let it go, or you're gonna decide, oh well, I'm still mad. I'm still mad. So I'm going to hold on to this anger for a little while longer. But at least you have acknowledged that you were offended. You've even gone through the emotions, so you released some of those emotions that you experienced, and you've accepted the fact that it happened. So you're no longer in denial about it. Step 4, you decide whether or not you want to forgive if you're ready. You're not going to forgive until you're ready. You're not going to release it, let go of the entire situation until you're ready to do that. Okay, that's step 4. And then step 5 is heal. Okay, if you're not ready to totally let go of the situation, okay, then as you are holding on to the situation, you still have to uh, figure out how to hold on to the situation, but don't let it continue to harm you at the same time. Okay, so that's still healing for you. All right. Um, if you decide that, okay, I'm ready to forgive, I'm gonna let the situation go, okay, then work on recovering, healing from those emotions and the 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 hurt that was caused from the offense. And then you heal, and as you're healing, you're analyzing the situation, you learn from it, and then move on. So those are the steps of forgiveness. Okay. Um, and so I wanted so that's what I have. So it's important to forgive. Forgiveness is for you first, then the other person. Okay. Um, it's important to forgive so that you can help yourself. Um, and you can also help those that surround you and the offender. Um, the 7 steps of forgiveness, we just went through that. Um, and lastly, it's important that you deal with the offensive situation. Try to deal with it as soon as possible, but deal with it. Don't just tuck it to the back of your mind and try to forget about it, because as much as you try to forget about it, it's still there and it'll resurface. It'll keep resurfacing. You might forget about it for a little while, but it'll keep popping up. It'll keep popping up. And um the longer you leave it unforgiven, you then allow it to turn into something else that will not benefit you. Unforgiveness leads to sickness, and unforgiveness can even cause death. Okay? So you don't want to live your life with unforgiveness. Okay? Very, very important. All right. Are there any questions, comments? I know that there's
A lot.
a lot that's been said.
Yes, I'm gonna acknowledge the people in the chat first, and then I'm gonna read the comments.
Sure. Okay.
Welcome, Taya Francois, Deacon McElroy. Welcome, welcome, Sherry Victorian, uh,
Welcome. Welcome.
Tang Ajita, James,
Welcome.
and to those who've been looking on from the background.
Yes.
Coach says she's going to the prayer line, and I'm gonna read the first comment. Sherry
Okay.
said, "I'm from Chicago, and a friend from New York shared this event. Wow, that's awesome. She's from Chicago.
Oh, thank you. All right. All right. Welcome.
73 years old. I had two situations where I was able to forgive in my life. The result was great. Relief for my life. No one has
Yes.
taught us forgiveness is for us thank you for sharing this topic today. You're most certainly welcome sharing
You
this
are
topic.
welcome. Yes, and thank
Oh,
you for sharing your testimony.
thank you. Thank the Lord for the internet, and we can connect with people all around the world.
That's true. That is so true.
Yes. The next one is Deacon Roy. She said, I have firmly believe that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Serve, anger, hatred, malice, and ill feelings destroy your body. That's true. What
Yes.
who made you angry? Yes, because when you bottle up everything inside, it don't make no sense. Because
Right.
that person is carrying on with their life and with their daily activity. Yep.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yes. Deacon McElroy said, make the decision to not let those negative feelings to occupy that much space in your personal PC, your mind. Push the
Yes.
delete button to free up space for positive life affirming information. Yes.
That's right. That's right. That's how you heal from it, from the offense, by practicing life affirming activities. That is so true. Thank you, Deacon McElroy.
Yes. And James said there are people who harness very bad feelings without releasing that unreasonable energy will lead to emotional hurt that bottle up can cause an inner energy chain reaction, causing a person to explode. Yes,
That is so true. That is so true. People, some people choose to hold on um, to those hurt feelings, that bitterness. That's what bitterness is. When you're holding on to it, and what the longer you hold on to it, the more it affects your action. So then you wind up, someone offended you, you're still mad about it all this time, and your anger and your resentment and those negative feelings uh, begin to shape your actions and color your actions as you interact with other people. And so you become a bitter person, you know, uh, out there instead of a better person. You don't want to be bitter, you want to be better. So, yes, thank you so much, Brother James. Right. That is so true.
okay. The next one is James said a level of emotional despair can lead to a rage of depression, causing bodily harm and spiritual damage. To a reason is release it and let God recenter your energy in love through forgiveness. Amen. He said.
Amen. That is so true. The effects of unforgiveness, unresolved um, emotions like that is tremendous, and it it impacts your entire life. Someone can do something to you that offended you when you were a child, and you carry that thing all the way into your adulthood and beyond, and it totally changes who you are as a person. It affects your personality, it affects your actions, it affects your interaction, it even affects your health. So that, people wonder why, oh, uh, I got these pains in my joints, you know. I wonder why I keep getting these headaches. I wonder um why uh, why I have trouble breathing. Uh, it takes a lot of energy to hold on to unforgiveness. Takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot out of a person to do that. Um, and unforgiveness leads to illness, amongst other things, but it leads to illness. And so when you have unresolved anger, unreleased anger and hurt, carry that in your body for years, yeah, your body starts to break down, and you feel pain, because that's what that is. That's stored pain. That hurt is pain, and you storing it, tucking it away. That anger stems from hurt, pain, pain that's stored and unreleased turns into disease. Yeah, yeah. And you store that pain in different places. Some people store that anger and resentment and whatnot, they store it in their head. So then they might have headaches or issues with their head. Some people store it right in their chest area. So then they wind up years later or what have you with heart disease or breathing problems, respiratory issues, because they stored that anger, that hurt in their chest area. Can't breathe. Some people store it in their stomach, their stomach area, their torso. So then stuff like your pancreas starts to malfunction, leading to things like diabetes. Your your liver starts to malfunction. Stored anger. A lot of people store anger in their liver. They're not even aware of it. And then the liver doesn't function properly. And then all of a sudden, you have disease, or because you got stored anger, you start, doing things to try to alleviate or numb that pain. So some people start abusing and misusing substances. So they might, you know, um, pick up, drinking alcohol or smoking or ingesting um, substances, pills, or what have you, so that they can numb that pain, that stored pain. They still feel it, but they start misusing substances to try to make themselves so that they don't feel that pain any longer or don't feel it as much. Okay. But yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. More comments, questions?
Yes, Deacon Elroy says the process of forgiveness allows you to surgically remove the poison in the offensive statement or action, rendering it, disable it in its devastation ability.
I like the way you put that, Deke. Surgically remove. Uh, and take it out. Surgically remove the offense and the effects of the offense. I like the way you said that, because the imagery is clear. Surgically, you have to zero in on the offense and then remove it. And remove all of it, so that it no longer uh, offends you and affects you. Thank you for that, Deacon. Next
Okay,
comment.
okay, Deacon Love, can you put this in your note? Um, Flow chat, Miss Shan said, please pray for Apostle Dennis. So put that in your notes.
Yes. Okay.
Continue to pray for Apostle Dennis.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Miss Chang Ajita. Thank you.
Okay, the
Okay.
next one is Deacon McElroy. 10% of your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual stability is impacted by life. 90% of it will be affected by what you feel about it.
Okay. I want to make sure that I heard you. Said she said 90%.
Okay, she said 10% of your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual stability is impacted by life. 90% of it is will be affected by how and what you feel about it.
Uh, some of that is true. Uh, I would I would rephrase that a little bit uh, in saying that uh, 100% of our mental, emotional, spiritual, physical um, areas of our lives is affected by life. That's living. Okay, life impacts all of those things every day, all day. Um, and I would say 50% of uh yeah, I would say 50% of resolving life's impact on our psyche and emotional and spiritual and physical bodies, 50% of it is how we choose to deal with it. You're right. The other 50% of it is how we actually deal with it. Because life impacts us all the time. And sometimes we simply react to life in our response to whatever situations happen. Other times we choose how we react. But in order for us to choose how we are going to react, we have to be aware of it. We have to experience it or experience something like it so that we can make an informed choice. And so, but yeah, that's a that's a very thought provoking comment. That yeah, but life impacts all of our entire being. Life impacts it every day. Okay, um, but 50% of the time we choose how we are going to respond, and the other 50% of the time we just react. For some people, though, they just react all the time. They don't even think. They just react. Just react. Something happens and then there's a reaction. They don't even take the time out to think. Um, in me sharing these topics with you, I am attempting to empower you all to um, be able to choose how you're going to react. Choose your actions and reactions after life impacts you. Okay, and I feel like if you're empowered with the proper information, When it's time to react, you'll have more, more information where you can determine what your response to life is, what your reaction is going to be. You can, you don't have to just simply react, not knowing anything. You just like a knee-jerk reaction. No, you don't have to do that. You can understand ways to react differently. The first time it happens, yeah, that's a reaction, you know, just like a reflex. The first time it happened because you don't have any prior knowledge or experience, to whatever the situation was. But when or if that situation or a similar situation happens again, it should not continue to be your response should not continue to be a reflex action or a thoughtless reaction. You should be able to say, you know what, you're supposed to have learned from the situation so that you have a different response or better response um, to that situation or a situation similar to it. So yeah, that um, that's my spin on it. And you know, we're supposed to learn from our situations, every situation that happens. We're supposed to learn from it. But don't live your life with fear as your teacher. Okay. Yes, we learn a lot from fear. After being in a situation and it was harmful and hurtful, and we get through it, but then we also acquire fear. Fear about when and if that situation happens again. We don't want to go through that same hurt and harm. So we're fearful. We that situation, once it happened the first time, it taught us to fear that situation. So anytime we see that situation even look like it's going to happen again, we get so fearful that we react, but we react out of fear, okay, instead of reacting out of focus, okay. So don't let fear be your life teacher, okay. Let God be your life teacher, all right, because God always has the right answers, always. But even as God is your life teacher, um, God will show you how to, the best ways to go through your experiences in life. Yes, but God also equips you so that you can learn from these situations, so that you will discover the best way to get through these situations and the best way to react if the situation happens again or a similar situation happens, or even how to prevent the situation from happening again. Okay, He equips us so that we can learn from that situation. So do that. Actually take the time out to analyze the situation and learn from it. That's why God gave us a brain, gave us a heart. He gave us everything that we need so that we can live this life. And according to the word, live it even more abundantly. Uh, we can live this life. We don't have to live our lives in fear. We don't have to live a poor quality of life, sick and pain and out of our minds, and we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. But because we have everything that we need to live our lives better, not bitter, but better. Um, God has given us that, but a lot of times we we don't take the time out to learn from life situations. We don't take the time out to analyze our actions and reactions. We don't do any of that. So then, when the situation occurs again and again and again and again, we don't like the fact that the situation keeps on reoccurring, but we do nothing about it. Um, there's a saying that, insanity is um, experiencing something and expecting, doing nothing about it and expecting a different result. If you're experiencing the same thing over and over again and you react and do the same thing in reaction to that thing over and over again, why should you expect a different result? You understand? In order to get a different result, when you're experiencing that thing again, you should have a different action. And then you get a different result. But if you experiencing the same thing, you doing the same thing over and over again, you're not going to get a different result. But the mere fact that you're sitting there expecting a different result, that is insanity. Because that's not reality. That's not what's going to happen. You're experiencing the same thing over and over again. You're doing the same thing over and over again. The same result is going to happen over and over again. So, but yeah, that's my response to that. Thank you so much for that comment. Any other comments or questions?
Yes. James said, recentering yourself by releasing the negative energy and healing yourself by building renewed positive energy is a process that will lead to forgiveness. See, you need to let go of the burdens.
Sounds like Brother James has experienced some of my work with energy help. Uh, yes, you are right, Brother James, and thank you for that. Um, yeah, um, when you are experiencing offense, hurt, yeah, part of when you take the time out to acknowledge that you're experiencing these things, yeah, in order to um, be able to do something about it, you have to get to a point where you're acknowledging the okay, this is how I feel, and then you allow yourself to feel, to go to have your feeling. Um, to get past that, yes, you have to center yourself. You have to still yourself so that you can have your feeling and be aware of how you're feeling as you are having your feeling, so that you can make a decision to take different actions, so that as you're having your feeling, you don't engage in activities that will cause you more hurt and more harm. Okay, you will make decisions. Okay, yes, I was angry. Now I've experienced the anger. I'm done with being angry about that now. I'm going to now take a different action. I'm no longer going to sit there and be mad. I'm going to forgive, which is simply releasing those emotions, letting go of the situation, not choosing to carry it around with you, and it be there. So whenever you feel like you want to be angry, you start thinking about that situation again, and dredge up all of that anger and hurt and resentment all over again. No, you're not going to keep carrying that bag around with you. You're going to forgive. You're going to release that bag. Let go of that bag. That bag contains that situation, all of those negative emotions and everything that came with that situation. You packed it up in that bag, and you're tossing out that bag. You're letting go that bag. That is forgiveness. So, but yes, Brother James, you have to you that's how you center yourself. That's how you center yourself. When you forgive, you release that situation. You no longer allow that situation to um, determine your actions and your reactions. You center yourself and push that situation and those emotions and everything. You let go of that. You push that away from you, because now you're centered. That situation, those emotions no longer can toss you any old kind of way to and fro and make you, act out of your mind, because you centered yourself and you have detached yourself from that offensive situation. And even you've released and let go of those emotions that went along with it. So you're absolutely right. Thank you, Brother James, for that. Any more comments?
Yes, one more comment. Tim
Sure.
said, we have to ask for forgiveness of many actions in life, no matter how small, before we can accept and express forgiveness to others as well.
That is so true. Now, today I talked about forgiveness and being able to forgive. Uh, I talked a little bit about forgiveness and receiving it also, but um, I spent more time and energy on talking about being able to forgive and why you should forgive. But yes, you are absolutely you're correct in that um, we should ask for forgiveness um, and receive forgiveness. But even though we ask for forgiveness of certain things, we don't always receive it from other people. You understand what I'm saying? When you ask for forgiveness, or you want to be forgiven, you want to be uh, unattached from that offensive action or thing that you've done. Uh, your forgiveness even doesn't depend on that person giving you forgiveness. I'm going to say that again. You receiving forgiveness, you uh, letting go, or deciding to um, stop the offensive actions that you've committed. Uh, you may not get that. You may not receive forgiveness from that person, but that doesn't mean that you're still tied to that offensive, hurtful action that you may have caused. Do you understand? Um, Number one, ask for forgiveness from God. That's number one. When you um, ask for forgiveness from God, the Word of God says God will forgive you. Okay, and once God forgive you, the only person then left that you need forgiveness from is from yourself. Once God forgives you, then you have to forgive yourself, regardless of whether or not the person that you offended chooses to forgive you or not. Sometimes people are not ready to forgive. They want to hold on to the offensive action and everything for a little while longer. They're not ready. They're not at that place to forgive. If you, being the offender, you are ready. You're sorry. You've repented. You've tried to make amends with that person that you've offended. You've done that. So now you're done with that 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 offense. You're done. You've learned your lesson. You're not going to do that anymore. You try to apologize to that person or what have you, and that person, for whatever reason, is not ready to forgive you. Just because they're not ready to forgive you does not mean that um, you are not able. You're still tied to that offense. You understand what I'm saying? Because some people hold on to situations that are hurtful or what have you, just so that they can hold that over your head. They can they hold on to that to keep you connected to them. You ever see sometimes a couple, they were in love, they were together and everything, and then one one person cheated on the other, and the other person is mad, upset, hurt, you know. That person who cheated, they still care about the person, but not in the same way. That's why they cheated, you know. But they're sorry. They won't do it again. They want to remain in relationship with that person, but that person is still mad. They still upset. They still hurt. So they're not ready to forgive. They're not ready to let the situation go. Let that cheating incident go. They're not ready to let it go. They want to hold on to it. So they hold on to it in an attempt to hold on to you. They think that, well, if I let that situation go, I'm excusing them, and that's going to give them reason to cheat again. If after you said you're sorry and you won't do it again, you decide that you're going to do it again, that means that that person didn't have you no way. So them holding on to the them choosing not to forgive you, it still won't make you stay. If anything, it might push you further away because you're like, well, I did everything I could do to make up for the situation. I'm sorry. I want to try again, but you don't want to try again fully because you want to keep holding that instance against me. Maybe we need to go our separate ways. That's what happens, you know. Uh, but in that situation, the person who cheated, they dealt with their offense and they dealt with the hurt that they caused the other person, and they tried to, make up for it and everything. They don't have to stay in that relationship that uh just because that person won't forgive them. They once they've done what they could, they've changed their actions, they've even apologized, tried to make amends, tried to, ease the hurt of the other person, and the person still don't want to let it go. The ex cheater can, you know, eventually will go and find someone else that they can really love and be committed to and all of that. So even though the ex cheaters uh love interest did not forgive them personally, doesn't mean that the ex cheater, you know, has to be bound to that offense. The ex cheater is now just that, a former cheater. They're not cheating no more. That was in their past. They've moved on from that. So um, I say all that to say that unforgiveness does not bind you to the offense. If a person chooses not to forgive, that's on them. That's not on you. Especially if you've changed your actions, you've repented, you've um, you know, made amends or tried to make amends. You are no longer bound to that situation. You've changed. You've learned your lesson. So that person can't keep you bound to that offense. Maybe to that person, you're always going to be a cheater or an offender. That's to that person. That person's entitled to their opinion. That's the way they choose to see you. I see you always as the offender, the person that offended me. Okay, that's you. But that's not who I am. That's the way you choose to view me, but that's not who I am. Yeah, I used to be a cheater. Okay, but I'm not anymore. So, unforgiveness does not and cannot hold you to your past offenses. Okay, so maybe I need to talk about a little bit more about unforgiveness and um, what it is to be forgiven. Now, like I said a little bit earlier, go to God for forgiveness. Go to Him first for forgiveness, because God is the only one that can really judge you. Okay, no one, no person, place, or thing can can judge you. They don't have a heaven to put you in, and they don't have a Hades to put you in. They don't have that power. They don't have that authority. They don't have that capability. Okay, so they can't really judge you. All right, so um, and those of us that you know have a relationship with God, you know, He's our only judge. We understand that He's the only one that is capable of judging us, really. He's the only one that doesn't have any sin. Because everybody sinned, everybody makes mistakes, nobody is perfect. So nobody can judge you. Okay, you made a mistake, you cheated. You learned from that mistake, you repented, you decided, okay, I'm not going to, cheat any longer. I'm no longer a cheater. You're a new person. If that person that you offended still chooses to view you in that way, that's on them. That's not on you. That person's opinion of you does not determine who you are. That's just facts. So you don't have to continue to be bound by your past offenses. Once God forgives you, you're forgiven. And you have to then see yourself as forgiven, receive the forgiveness of God, and forgive yourself. And then move on. Move on. Because you know, we sin every day. It's just that's what we do as humans. That's what we do. And we need forgiveness every day. That's just fact, you know. But we can't continue on living life bound by our past mistakes. If you live your life that way, you have a very difficult time in learning and moving forward. There are a lot of people out there though that live their lives that way. And they inflict their own judgment on themselves. They inflict judgment on others, but that's wrong. And if you're doing that or continue to do that, you are lowering your quality of life. You're doing that to yourself. No one else is doing that to you. And we don't have to do that to ourselves. That's not God's plan for us either. Word of God lets us know that Christ came so that we can have life, and not only just have life, but have it more abundantly. Those of us that have a relationship with God, we should be living our lives where we should be able to experience life in a more abundant way. We should have an increased quality of life. Because we understand that God has equipped us with resources where we can do just that. Okay? Those of us who don't have a relationship with Christ, you need to get one. I'm just saying, that's my opinion. But regardless, you look at your life, you look at your quality of life. Are you really happy? You know, do you have joy? I should say, because happiness is tied to the situations or the things that's happening or the things that you have. Happiness is temporary. You know, a child gets a new toy, they're happy. They're happy, because the toy is new. But after they had the toy for some time, the newness kind of wore off about the toy. They're still happy about the toy, but they may not be as happy. Or bored with the toy and the toy doesn't make them happy at all. Simply because they've gotten used to the toy. They were happy about the newness of the toy. Now the toy is not new, so they're not happy. But joy, now that's different. Do you have joy in your life? Joy is being able to have hope and being optimistic regardless of the situation, whether the situation is good or bad or even in between. If you have joy, you know that you're going to come out of that situation. If you have joy, you know that, okay, that was that situation. Okay. I'm still alive. I'm still here, and I'm going to make it through this situation, whether it's good or bad or in between. Joy is long lasting. Joy, the joy of the Lord, scripture says, is our strength. It's the joy that gives us the energy, the fortitude to bust through situations and go through it, knowing that you're going to come out on the other side of the situation. You're not going to be stuck in the situation. The situation, when you have joy, you understand that situations come not to stay, but situations come to pass. They don't come to stay. Trouble don't last always when you understand what joy is. Okay? And trouble doesn't last always. Trouble come and trouble go. Situations come and then situations go. That's life. But when you have joy, you are confident. Joy is not happy, happy, happy all the time. Joy is optimism. Joy is strength. Joy is, yeah, I can be happy even in this situation where it looks like my whole world is falling down around me, because I know I'm going to get through it. I know that the situation is only temporary. The situation is not who I am, but I am is in the situation. All right, don't get me excited. But anyway, but yeah, I say all that to say that situations, they come and they go. They're temporary. Okay? Life situations, they happen and then they are behind us. So when you have joy, you understand that. So you don't necessarily freak out when a troubling situation happens. You don't act like that situation that happened is going to determine your life, because it doesn't. Situations happen in life. Situations don't determine your life. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't just shut down your life. Okay. You live through situations. Situations should not live through you. Okay. But yeah. Um, any more questions, comments?
Yeah, this is
I
some
hope that I responded. I hope y'all got something out of what I was saying.
on it.
Um,
But I have
yeah.
to take a phone break and I have to close up.
Yes.
Again, when when we look back over our lives, we as adults can see where we were forgiven in a growing life of words and actions cause, causes God forgive man and have forgiven beings a chance to change, beloved.
That is so true. Why do we forgive? For first of all, because God forgave us. Okay. We had to we have to receive forgiveness in order to really know how to forgive. And so um we should forgive. Um think about those situations that have happened, those offenses that have happened to you, and work on releasing those situations out of your life, out of your mind, your body, your spirit. Forgive. It it's for your good to forgive. Okay. I went over 7 steps of forgiveness. But if you or someone you know needs to go through forgiveness, they either need to receive forgiveness or they need to um, give forgive, and they are having some trouble or they don't know um, how to do it or get through it. Feel free, call me. You can call me at 718-576-8110. You can email me at dunamissoundmind, one word, at gmail.com. I am a mental health coach and energy medicine practitioner, certified. I'm also a licensed chaplain and minister, and I can help you. Okay, so feel free to to reach out to me, and I would love to assist you um, in helping you release some of those uh, negative, offensive activities and events in your life. Um, you will see a tremendous difference as um, one of the ladies had testified to earlier that once you release that thing, you experience a certain freedom, you know, and liberty, and you can breathe, and just things get so much better once you've uh, given forgiven. It's a life changer, really. It's a life changer. So feel free to do that. Like I said, I would be more than happy to help you uh, and assist you if you have those issues. Um, Thank you again for tuning in and allowing me to share and interact with you with regards to the subject of forgiveness. Um, it's a heavy subject, and it's a Um, there's still so much more to be said and everything. Uh, Let me know if you'd like me to come back and revisit it. I'll be more than happy to do so. But thank you to all of you all that uh, gave comments and questions in the chat. Thank you to those who are here watching and are with us. And you're in the background. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Don't forget to like the video and share it. Share it with everyone that you know or would benefit from learning about forgiveness today. Okay. And thank you, Miss Griffith, again for just providing this awesome platform here at Aunt CC's Kitchen, um, and making sure that we have a place where we can discuss these topics and have the hard conversation about these things. And to all of you out there, I encourage you, I implore you to forgive. It'll change your life. Okay. Um, Miss Griffith, do you have any closing comments?
Yes. Thanks to everyone in the chat, in the audience, and thanks to those who in the background. And don't, as Miss Love said, don't forget to like the video, comment, share. Everyone, your neighbor, your sister, your friend. Like this lady said, she was in Chicago, and someone from New York shared this video with her. So if
Thank
anyone
you.
from
Thank you
New York
for doing
shared
that.
the video, anyone else can do the same. So again, don't forget to like, comment, and share the video for anyone who can benefit from this information. It is very important, it is very informative, and it is powerful, it's uplifting, and it can help those who can benefit from it. And thanks again to Miss Deacon Love for presenting every Sunday and Monday and Fridays too. We have a Friday testimonial topic. If there's anyone who have a testimonial who want to share, you can contact me at aunccskitchen at gmail.com. My Instagram is Chardonnay, or you can contact Deacon Love at dunamasongmind at gmail.com. Don't be shy to contact any one of us. You contact me or you contact her, and we will get the information out to you guys. And for everyone else who wants to tune in and listen to all these amazing topics that we share here on Sundays and Mondays.
Yes. Yes. Very
Thanks,
nice.
everyone. Have a great day and a blessed week ahead. Don't forget to stay safe and be mindful and be diligent around your surroundings. Have a great day to everyone, a blessed day. And thanks, Deacon Love. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of
Have
your
a
week.
great day, Miss Griffin. Have a great day, everyone.
Yes.
Remember, practice forgiveness. Now is a very good time to do so. It'll change your life. Take
Yes.
care. Bye bye now.